Hey guys, welcome to Takes from Obvious Bozos, episode 5. I'm Drew, creative director of the Strickland SNY MSG. Zachary Blattery is here with me. Zachary, how's it going?
It's going great. Looking forward
Great.
to the second game of a back-to-back in Toronto.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for this game because I need like a good solid win.
You're not getting it in Toronto. I mean, I don't want to hold my breath, but I
I just
like these Raptor games are always rough. They're
I
not fun
just
to
I
watch.
just I
So
just want something solid. Right? Like I don't want to
I,
watch the Detroit game again.
I I'm a little worried. So I mean, hopefully I'll be proven wrong. This will be out after the game. So hopefully I look like a total idiot right
Yeah,
now.
I'm hoping that too. So, yeah. But before we get into all of your takes, and guys, you submitted so many takes, and not only that, so much conversation, so much stuff to sift through. I love nothing more than reading about side conversations about TV villains while I'm trying to prep for the podcast. So keep that channel nice and loosey goosey as it is right now. And so just wanted to get that out there before we talk about our sponsors. The holiday season is off and rolling with the NFL in full stride and the NBA and NHL hitting mid-season form. BetOnline is your number one destination for all your sports wagering info. With up to the minute sports wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions, BetOnline is the top spot for everything pro and amateur sports. And that's just the right, and not just the big four. BetOnline has information at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time for almost any sport played. We're talking MMA, international soccer, we're talking Australian rules rugby, we're talking Georgian wrestling, um, we're talking like Texas high school football, maybe your beer league softball game as well. Bet Online has it all. So head to Bet Online today and remember to use our promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV, BLEAV. Bet Online where the game starts. And guys, don't forget the Strickland has an Instagram, a TikTok, Snapchat. Do we have Snapchat? No? Okay. Well, you're muted anyway. So we don't have
We
Snapchat.
we don't have a Snapchat.
Okay.
Thank God.
Um, yeah, all all the different social medias you could follow us at the Strick.land. The Strickland also has a YouTube channel where you may be watching this pod at this very moment. Make sure you subscribe. We've got plenty of other content coming this season. And you could also be listening to this on Patreon because the entirety of this podcast is on Patreon. And it also has tons of new content. For $6, you get access, like I just mentioned, the full version of this pod. You also get access to the Discord server where you can submit takes for the show, along with the Friday episode of Pod Strickland. You also get feature articles from the Professor Matthew Miranda, invites to private events throughout the season, discounted merch. For $9, you get access to a brand new NFL show, Strictly NFL, hosted by Jeff and Con. You also get even more perks if you subscribe to one of our elevated tiers. So do not forget to check that out, guys. So, Zach, are you ready for the takes? We actually got a lot more this week than
I'm ready.
last week. So
But are we doing something before?
we are doing something before, and before we get into the takes, we're gonna have a nice little nomination ceremony moving forward for, of course, the Bozo of the Week. And I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? Like when I say Bozo of the Week, I'm gonna add a sound effect every single time I say
Can
Bozo
you
of the
just
Week.
record yourself saying like "Bows of the Week" and then put tons of reverb on it?
Yeah,
And
there's gonna be stuff going on. Like it's gonna be like like a drinking type game. So like guys,
great.
every time we say Bozo of the Week, you got to take a shot. So I think you're at 5 or 4 right now. So Zach, who's your nominee?
Can I get a drum roll, maybe?
Hold on.
Drum.
Drum
Well,
roll.
pretend there's a drum
See
roll.
if you could hear it. Drum roll.
It's pretty good. I could definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. Mine is no. It's no surprise that you should have seen this coming. It's Julius Randle.
Oh, Julius
And
Randle. Oh man.
you know what? The worst part about this Julius Randle experience this season, and the worst part about the Julius Randle experience every season, is that the
You mean the
stats
Randle?
are
It's the Randle coaster.
yes, the stats are always pretty good. The
Always
counting
good.
stats, dude, 25, 10 and 5, or 22, 10 and 5, whatever he's got. I think I saw a tweet today. It was like Randall, Jokic, and Embiid, the only three average of 20, 10 and 5, or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I mean, like, it's true. Like, the counting stats are good. So it's hard to, like, put up the arguments in. But if you just watch any of these games and you say, hey, I'm just going to watch Randall only this possession, I'll watch only Randall, and I'm going to watch Randall for this whole 2 minutes, this whole 3 minutes. I'm not going to look at the ball. I'm not going to look at anything else. It's marvelous just watching this type of stuff. And he's so checked out on defense, and you could see like possession to possession which ones he checks out extra for and which ones he like kind of gets back in the seat for. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny, oh my, that Pistons one, he was totally like not into it. But when Knox came into the game, he was like, "Oh, wait a minute, I know this guy. Oh, let me give him some buckets." And he actually kind of went at Knox a little bit for a little bit in that game, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so he can put it together." But when it was like Durant on him or one of the other guys, like Cade had switched on to him a few times, he's just totally like not there. But he's still like so talented where he's gonna get the stats. He's still gonna get the buckets
He got
anyway.
29, 10,
And
and
like we
9.
see it, like it was a 29-10. He had a triple double. In fact, that was maybe the most painful to watch triple double I've ever experienced. That whole game was just like Brunson had
Mm-hmm.
40, Randall triple double. If you told me like 2 years ago, be like, "Yep, we got this game in the last game of November. Brunson and Randall, they're just gonna go crazy. They had 40 and a triple double." I'd be like, "Oh wow, turn that shit on! Like put it on." That was the most dreadful performance from them to watch. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this team is just not there." We were letting the Pistons get back into it and back into it, and they kept making runs and making runs, and it was ugly, but they got it done in the end. And it wasn't just the Pistons game, man. You can go back to these games in the rest of the past few weeks. It's just been the same from Randall, who's just not checked in on defense. Guys are blowing by him. He's not getting back, but he's still getting the points. He's still getting his rebound. There was one game, he had that 20 and 20 game where we'll excuse that. We'll excuse that. That was a nice game, even though it wasn't the most perfect 20 and
That was
20
a
game ever.
nice game.
That was a nice game. It was a
How
fun
was
one.
it excellent
I
game?
thought the funniest one point from him was like we were up comfortably in the end, and when he grabbed the 20th rebound, he knew damn well that
He
was
knew.
number
He
20.
yelled. He
He
yelled. It
knew.
was
He
great.
yelled. He was like he did the mellow like with the catch the ball and slam
Yup.
it. He
Yup.
knew that shit was 20 and 20. I was like, oh, he knows. That was funny. It's so obvious when these guys are like going for that last stat. I feel like Brunson is the one who never like goes for it. You couldn't tell if it's his
I don't.
second or his
Yeah, I don't know
40th
if
point
Brunson.
with
I
him.
don't think Brunson knows.
I don't think he looks up at the box score once during the game. He has no idea. But Randall, I mean, that guy is counting every rebound, every assist. He's probably counting his plus minus in his head too. He's probably doing all that. Like he's probably like, oh, the game where he was like, I can't remember the opponent was, but there was a game where he was like a minus 14, and I think I tweeted like he has no reason to go back in the fourth quarter of this game, and he did. Oh, it was the Miami game, which was just like tremendous game. But he went in, and he like didn't do anything in the last 4 minutes, which was great. And I'm sure his plus minus like took a nice little boost from that, and we
Mm-hmm.
won the game in convincing fashion. And everybody forgot that he was just horrible for the first 3 quarters. But that was a fun one, and the Randall experience has just been bozo worthy for the past 2 weeks. So he's my
It
nominee.
felt. It felt like both Randall and RJ yesterday. We're recording this, like we mentioned, we're recording this before the Raptors game, so we're talking Detroit, which happened yesterday. They both were just like only decided to play when they wanted to, and I
Yeah,
don't like that type of energy
or
when
when they really needed to, like they were like, oh wait, we
yeah,
gotta.
like I don't like that type of energy when you're playing a game, especially when like your opponent is not as good. Like I don't like this like, oh, we'll turn like RJ was terrible, right? But then he had like a little spurt in the fourth quarter where he was actually trying and actually hustling and he was making his layups and his passes and shit. It's like, oh, okay, so like it is in there. So like you took the night off, and I'm like, why are you taking the night off? Like, just make your open shots. Like you want to like I don't understand the logic, but like it's what it is, I guess, apparently, when you play crappier teams. I don't know. But it was annoying to watch that game. But I have my own bozo.
Who is your bozo?
That bozo is gonna be me. I'm the
You.
bozo of the week because I not only found this argument, I found an argument based in statistics. Not only did I find it, I'm gonna share it with you guys right now to basically prove my case of how much of a bozo I am. because this came into my head very late at night when I'm just like looking at stats, may or may not have, been on things. We'll neither confirm nor deny. Pulling one of those type of things. And there is an argument to be made where Marvin Bagley III could be the Randall replacement.
I
No, you're
don't.
shaking.
I don't think there's an argument to be made here.
You don't think there's an argument to be made at all?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the argument.
Yeah.
This is a really sound one. You'll see how good this is. So the Knicks, I feel like the Knicks, we're going to get into this too because we have takes about related to this type of these things as well. So, but I do think the Knicks need to trade Randall at some point. When, well, like to be TBD, right? But I do think at some point, like he's one of the first Knicks that kind of has to go. I have like a pecking order of how I think the order should go in terms of like trades and stuff, but like Randall needs to go so Quickly could start. And the idea is like Quickly is going to take Randall's offensive usage, right? So that means he's going to be on the ball, he's going to be making more decisions, he's going to be scoring and passing and all that sort of stuff. Probably a lot more than Randall. So the Knicks need someone to then be someone who can score off of assists. We had that person in Obi Toppin, but he's not here anymore. So like the Knicks need a 4 who can, in theory, be a person who could score off the assist and grab rebounds. That kind of fills that void that Randall kind of has. And if you go look at the scoring play-by-play data for on like PBP stats, and you look at like assisted points scored per 100 possession, Marvin Bagley is like the same as Giannis on 2-point field goal like volume and efficiency. And this is because it's rated up to per 100 possession. So you have a guy who can finish, who's someone who could just finish, and he's obviously going to be cheap because
you might get him for free. They might pay you to take him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I came up with that high.
Is he
That's
starter replacement? Like you're like, okay, we got Bags in here, and he's the starting 4. Like that's happening, or
Zach, that's all I can give you. That's why I'm nominating myself as the bozo. That's the argument I came up with.
This would be a fun experiment in a 2K rebuild. It would be fun to see, like, oh, let me just do this in 2K. We'll turn off the trade rules and we'll just send out Randall for Bagley, even though the contracts don't really work like that.
Yeah,
and we'll just test it out in a couple games. We'll do a sim. We'll do 15-game sim, see how it is. Maybe you play with it for a quarter or two. You hop in, you do a live cast thing. But that's about as far as it'll go. I'm not interested in the Randall.
But yeah, because Bagley is scoring just over 13 points on 2-pointers per 100 possessions, assisted through. Like he is like.
But how small is his sample size? Like
I did this for players who've played at least 300 minutes this season. He is very much closer to the bottom of that sample.
Yeah, it's
at the top. But
okay.
One of the reasons why I wanted to actually bring this take up, because I do want to bring up this idea of like when we think about replacing Randall or trading for Randall, I think the team ultimately, even us, we could just be like, we could replace him with anyone, right? We're thinking that. But I think the team is probably thinking it as they need someone who's going to be able to replace his rebounding, and the usage is going to have to change. So it's like, what type of usage we're talking about for someone. So that's why I'm like Quickly has to start, because he's going to take the on-ball usage. So someone would have to then have off-ball usage. You get what I'm saying? So like,
it's not the easiest. Like, it's not the easiest replacement. It's not
right. Like, so I think like the idea of replacing Randall is a very difficult one in practice, because like the only guy who really fits the description is Lauri Markkanen,
and you're not getting him.
And I don't think he's like available in any sort of way, because like that's the kind of guy you want to replace Randall with, because he's more off-ball usage, right? The rebounding is going to be the same. It's kind of like all the same in terms of production wise, and usage wise in terms of shifting to like a more guard centric lineup. It also then allows you to really evaluate RJ Barrett because it is like there's no excuse for RJ Barrett to be like clogged paint type shit, right? Because it's like that. Then you could actually have a proper assessment on Barrett whether or not you need to replace him. Who would be number 2 in my pecking order in terms of like how you have to replace the uh the Knicks. But I just wanted to bring up the take ultimately just to kind of bring this idea to you for like how specific, like who you think like a Randall fit would
Can I give
ultimately
you
be.
one more name? It gets floated
Um,
around often. It's not a deep cut, but it's Tobias Harris. Like that's the name I've heard a lot. I mean,
that's
there
true.
was like a
Right,
blip on
right.
the radar last year, and like
Hmm.
I think he makes sense more than a lot of the fours around the league as replacements, but he's not like some ideal like diamond in the rough replacement for Randall. Like it would just be an overnight success. I don't know if it's perfect for that, and I don't know like how consistent he is. Sixer fans are like so tired of this guy, and I don't know if I want to like deal with the Toby experience here. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I think we're talking about the same sort of archetype though, right? Like it's
Yeah,
the guy who scores off of assists or off ball
yeah,
mainly. Like it was floated, I think today, like Kuzma as an idea. Like we're kind of talking about like that type of archetype though, is
yeah.
what we're saying is I do think the Knicks should look for like that stretch four, like a four who could shoot, like legitimately shoot.
Yeah.
And because Mitch is in the paint, he's always going to be in the paint. And Brunson can score on the outside, quickly score on the outside. Barrett currently on the
Can sometimes
aggregate
score on the
is
outside.
scoring on the outside. But his main thing is ultimately like get downhill in transition. And you kind of want someone who you want more shooters around that guy. But like, I don't know.
It's a fun idea, but it can stay an idea for now.
Perfect. Are you ready for the actual the takes, or
I'm
did we
excited.
or are we
I'm
doing
very
something
excited.
else?
Well, we've got. I want to save those for later because mine is not basketball related, but I do want to get it in at some point. So we Doug and I have decided we're going to bring our own takes to the table.
I
Yeah,
just
because
brought
we
my
just
take to the table.
no, that was the bozo of the week. You're the bozo of the week, but
Oh, right,
we're
because of
also
the take. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, fair
But
enough. Fair enough.
I'm also bringing in a separate take that I should have submitted in the Discord, but I'm submitted vocally, and you haven't heard it yet. So, but we'll save it for later.
We'll save it for later. So we're gonna get to our first take. You ready? Yes? No?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
No, I'm waiting. I was waiting for you for confirmation. Are you ready?
I'm more than ready. Yeah.
Okay. Mikey Cook says, "Fuck the Miami Heat." Great take.
Great take. It's freezing cold. I mean, everybody knows. Like, it's not some
Great. Oh,
no
Mikey, great
surprise.
take. Great take. Elite take. Fuck the Miami Heat. It's Fat Halpert or Fat Alpert. All right. Thanksgiving hot takes. Mashed potatoes are wildly overrated. Zach.
That's a terrible take. I actually love mashed potatoes.
I know it's a terrible take. What do you mean
Yeah, I
overrated?
love
Like,
them. Maybe he hasn't had them with butter. Like, maybe he's only had them the wrong way. Like, he just hasn't like drenched them in butter yet. Like, when you do that, you're like, oh wait a minute, this is a whole. And you throw some pepper on there. Dude, come on. What are we talking about?
I don't. So this is actually gets me more into a concept of overrated, underrated type thing because it's such a relative term. Like overrated to what? Who's saying it's the best? Are they saying
I think they're pretty like the consensus is that they're good for mashed potatoes.
right? Everyone like knows like mashed potatoes are good. It is probably the best Thanksgiving vehicle for foods and gravies and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's the perfect like glue to your Thanksgiving meal. It's so like
It's like the 2022, 2023 Josh Hart of Thanksgiving meals.
yeah, there you go. Exactly. Like no one is saying it's a franchise player. It's right. Like no one is saying that. Who says that? I don't think anyone does. Like everyone knows mashed potatoes has a role and it's great in its role. No one's like, hey, we're going to Thanksgiving dinner just for mashed potatoes. Like no one does that, but everyone's like, well, you better have good mashed potatoes though. I don't know.
They're part of
It's
the story. Like they got to be there. So
yeah, that's just a bad take. It's I don't understand how they're overrated even in the first place. They're just good. No one like that's indisputable.
let's read these
Basketball.
next three all together because they're all about the same thing.
Well, no, the first one before we get to the next one. right? It's
Oh yeah, I'm sorry,
from
I misread
Basketball
that.
Robot.
But there's a triple coming up though.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the triple's coming up, which is basically the the free part of the show is the triple part. Um, Basketball Robot has we should celebrate gluttony all year round and not just for Thanksgiving. I mean, I think this is a freezing take because like, aren't you doing that already? We do that
Yeah,
every
I do
single
that
day.
already. I mean, if you're not celebrating gluttony, I don't know what you're doing. Like I do that every day. Look forward
Yeah,
to
I
it.
don't like.
Doesn't really make sense this one,
Yeah, that
unfortunately.
no, that's not that's I don't terrible take. We make meals all the time for we don't need Thanksgiving as an excuse. If that's what you're kind of getting at. If you're just saying we don't need Thanksgiving as an excuse to cook, then yes, I agree. But that's a cold take then.
I mean, if he wants me to like get together with my family like 365 days a year to eat with them, that's an even colder take. If that's what she's talking about, it's like if you want to do Thanksgiving every year, I don't know about that.
yeah,
One is enough. Two would be tops for Thanksgiving a year.
I don't really know what he's getting at. Dallas, be better at your takes or at least explain your takes
Yeah.
better. Like, come on, step up. So we're gonna get into these three takes, which are all related to the in-season tournament. So the editor-in-chief, Alex Wolf, submitted the take. The in-season tournament is stupid, and having the quote-unquote prize be that two teams in the final have to play one more regular season game every team than every other team for the prize of less than a game check is peak capitalism bullshit. Duder Adam Dangerous Loomer has my take. The in-season tournament has been very fun so far, and given an additional small reason to give a shit about random weekday early season games. Then Vivek has repeating the above to have explicitly mentioned on the pod. Vivek, thank you very much for doing it that way because that is how it should be. The takes from Obvious Bozos channel should be of only submitted takes and not any of your nonsense that you guys like to talk about. So just gonna mention that again in the version of my annoyance with that. People way too mad over the in-season tournament. Also a hilarious abbreviation if you're a brown person. Want to make things more interesting? Give the winner some ping pong balls in the draft lottery. I have a take based on that, but Zach, I'm gonna let you go first because you're ready for.
I've got a few IST takes to get off.
Let's go. Get him
First
out.
of all,
Get him out.
I want to go back to Alex because I think he's like downplaying the prize here. Like, obviously,
Of course he's down. Of
yeah,
course, yeah. Alex
yeah.
Che Rivera, a wolf over here, being like, "It's peak capital bullshit, capital." But
Okay,
lighten up.
listen. Obviously, 500K is nothing to Randall or Brunson or any of these for RJ who makes like 100 million on their contract. Like, yes, that point has been made hundreds of times. But if
Mm-hmm.
you listened to the MSG broadcast, I think it was 3 games ago, they talked about, or maybe it wasn't the most recent Dynasty game. It's probably the Washington game that happened a week or two ago. Rebecca Harlow was saying that the assistant coaches are the ones who really take away a ton of money from this compared to
Yes.
what they usually get.
Yes.
Apparently, so I googled it. They get like a portion of the final prize pool, but the way she talked about it made it seem like they're getting the equivalent, or a little bit less, or a little bit more than like a year's salary for these assistant
Yeah.
coaches,
They're
which is
probably doubling.
crazy.
Yeah,
Which is
probably
crazy.
doubling their
That's
salary.
insane.
Yeah, something like that.
And
Yeah.
like she was also saying, like the players know this, and the players are cool with the assistants. They travel with them just as much as they travel with the players, and they probably know the assistants better than they know half the players. These guys are the ones who talk to them in their ear all day.
Mm-hmm.
They want to win shit for these assistants. That's a huge deal
Yeah.
for them. That's a
Yes.
huge deal for them. So I think that's getting way overblown. Like the people are forgetting that, and like even the assistant coaches, any of the head coaches get awarded. You
Mm-hmm.
also get awarded for coming in the quarterfinal or coming in the semifinal. It's like not just for winning. Like there's a whole prize pool. There's a whole prize set for you for like first, second, third, fourth place here. So that's also getting like overlooked and missed out on. Besides that, though, like it's not a peak capitalism bullshit. I don't know. This is a bad take. This is a terrible take. The ISD is great. We're talking about something in November or December 1st today. But we're talking
Yep.
about basketball that matters on December
Yep.
1st. Like, have you ever said that? Like, it's never happened before. So that's a win in itself.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Courts are
It's great.
awesome. The games have been great. Every single one
Mm-hmm.
has been great. They get greater and greater too. Like I think the first two, they were kind of like, we don't really know what's going on here. We'll feel it out, and they were still pretty good. But by the time like the teams had realized like, oh, we gotta like kick their teeth in and get the point differential thing going on here, that was
It's
that
been
was
great.
crazy. That was a
Yeah.
great night. We saw Randall going against Leaky Black in like the third unit of the Hornets at the Garden while we're up 30. It was an experience that we have never gotten before, and it's making me want to watch basketball, which is great. So that's a terrible take. In regards to like the Vivek and Deuter Adams take, like Deuter Adams is correct. NCAA tournament's been very fun. Vivek is
Mhm.
this idea is crazy. Like they're a little vague because it's like give the winner some ping pong balls in the lottery. Like how many? Like how what's the increase here? Like I want to know like how severe is the ping pong ball change here? Like is it just a little like
This is
icing
gonna
on
be
the cake, or
this is
is
gonna
this
be
like a
my take.
worth doing? So I want
This
to
is
hear
gonna
your take on this.
The winner of the in-season tournament should get the first pick of the draft.
That's a big one. That's a big one. That would probably screw over a lot of really bad teams, because you'll never get a generational talent.
I mean, you could like you'll still have
Well,
you could
unless
still
you
do your
lucky.
lottery and everything. Like you could still get the second pick, the third pick, or whatever. Like, hey, you may not make the playoffs, but like if you're winning your in-season tournament games, like it's at least fun. I think that should be the prize.
It would be really fun, but I can't see the owners like coming to the table and be like, "Yeah,
Well,
let's do this."
no, because they're cowards.
They won't. Yeah, they won't do it. So it sucks that it's not even like I don't even think it would make it to the table in those discussions, let alone like actually be discussed. So, but it would be fun. Like maybe 2K can add it as a rule in the rebuilds. Like you should be able to do that in the video games.
Like,
That'd be fun.
how much more interesting would like the league be in general too, right? Because
Oh, it would be yeah.
you're like you want to talk about like eliminating tanking, right? Like that's how you eliminate tanking.
Yeah.
Like you could still like you could do your lottery. You don't even have to do an NBA lottery. You can do worst record from after that. But like if you want like the stakes are already good enough because like you've already mentioned, the assistant coaches are getting bonuses. Hell, even darn like the two-way guys also getting
Yeah,
bonuses,
that's another one. They were talking about
right? Like
Dylan
yeah,
Windler
like
and Archie, like it matters for them. It really
yeah,
does.
exactly. Like some of these guys are like getting bonuses, and like I know we could joke around, be like they're still a millionaire, but like they're not like a millionaire like RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
Like hey man, I'll take 500K any day. But like yeah, so it's already good enough reward. But I think if you were to talk about like draft stuff, I really like the idea of just like the winner gets the first round pick in the draft. I think it would just make the leagues
The first
yeah,
overall pick or the first
first
round
over
pick?
no, first
Okay. Yeah.
overall.
Yeah. No,
I think it would
that's a
make
good
the
idea.
leagues so much better.
Could you imagine if like the Grizzlies like won Wemby last year? If that happened or something. I don't know who's good in the early season last year. Imagine if Utah like had Wemby right now or something. That would be the case last year. They were pretty good in early
Yeah,
season.
Utah. Well, yeah, like something like that. Like
Yeah,
that. But like, doesn't that make the league more interesting? And you
it
go,
does. It really
oh,
does. It does. It does.
because like it wouldn't always be like the final team, right? It's not going to. It may not always be a playoff team. It may not always be a team that's going to make the NBA finals, right? Like that's what's kind of been great about the in-season tournament is that like it really kind of can be anyone,
It can, and it's single elimination. Like it's definitely can be
right?
anybody now. It's not.
There's a scenario where like the Knicks really didn't make it. Like, if we know they're going to be a playoff team, we have a pretty good feeling they should be able to make the second round of the playoffs, but like they could have just been like straight up eliminated from the in-season tournament. So like anyone can win it. I don't know. I like it. I was skeptical of it. And I'm like, this sounds dumb, but I was like, I have to wait and see. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna play out. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but if you go back an episode or two, I did say it's going to be a smashing success. That was one of my takes. I said it in here, but
All right, good job.
we'll come back to it later.
Congrats. You great. You have to take that age well. Wonderful.
Yep, aged tremendously.
All right, we're gonna do one more take before we transition over. This is from Young Pavardi. IQ is at 58 true shooting, even though he's just shooting 34.7% from three. He's going to finish this season above 60% on increased volume and set a new career high on points per game. So I forget when Schwinn actually submitted that, so I don't know how accurate the numbers are, but we can at least just assess the idea of like Quickly's going to finish with like 60 true shooting on increased volume and stuff. And I don't I don't think it's a hot take for Knicks fans. It could be a hot take for people maybe like just broadly following the league and not following certain things
They don't know
closely.
ball.
Huh?
They don't know ball. They wouldn't know.
I mean, obviously, if that's the case, but like, so it's not that hot a take. I can kind of see it. Like, Quickly's 2 point scoring has improved significantly.
The
He
percentage actually took a little bit of a dip. It kind of like had a little weird blip, but it was amazing for the first like 9 games of the season.
I
So
know, which
it'll go
is
back to that.
which I kind of figured that, but the way he was playing was just a little more sustainable. He was taking like he was always taking like the floater at the right time. He was attacking the rim at the right time. He was able to his ability to change pace and speed and take
Draw
angles,
contact.
yeah, draw
Yeah.
contact and stuff. Like he's just been fantastic at it. So I could definitely see, and the 3 point shooting is going to come around
Yeah.
because he's taking so many better 3 pointers than he was, I think, almost at like any point in his career. He's pulling immediately when he
Yes.
has a clean look. He is hunting specific shots too. And you get to kind of see that where he has like the specific like corner shot with Hartenstein coming off a screen. Like he has a couple shots that he just gets, and they're good looks, they're clean looks. He's not forcing up threes. It's some of them are just not falling. A lot of them have been in and out. Like he's shooting really well. He's been excellent.
Yeah.
He's
I don't think this is a hot take at all. This is probably
I don't think it's hot. Prez U Coward says Tibbs usually changes after 20 games. Grimes will not be starting. This is kind of tough because I think in like the sentiment of it, I don't think it's a hot take. But like I think in terms of like if news broke, it would be like, whoa. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? No?
I have a nerd answer for this.
Okay,
A party pooper answer for this, I guess. But
go
we're at
for it.
15 games played right now before this Raptors game, and it's just Raptors, and then we have that Bucks IST game on Tuesday. So those are our next two.
Mhm.
That'll be the 20. If they win the Bucks IST game, no matter how bad Grimes is, he could go for
He's
another
gonna
0
start.
point
Yeah.
game. He's starting. So I don't know if it'll be right after 20 games, but if they lose that Bucks game and if they lose in Toronto tonight and like Grimes isn't good in either of those games,
I could see
then
it.
we're
Yeah.
talking. I could totally see it after 20 games. But it really is dependent on these next 2 games. I can't give you a verdict now. I mean, I hate saying that because you have 18 game sample size and it should be that. But like this is kind of like these next 2 games are. I could totally see Tibbs making the change if it's a bad Bucks game and it's not great in Toronto. So we'll see.
I do want to kind of like tap into like the sentiment of it. I do think the starting lineup would actually be better with look, the starting lineup is going to be better with Emmanuel quickly, but like let's just kind of forget about that whole conversation
Yeah,
because we know it's not going to happen. I do think the lineup will be better with Dante DiVincenzo. I think
me
just
too.
given the way he plays, the starters need an event creator. This was already mentioned. Like, I'm not saying anything probably like new to especially like the patrons because I literally took that line from from the Discord and I forget who actually quoted it, but like they need an event creator. Dante's the guy, like Dante's the deflections guy. He's the steals guy. Like that's what Dante is. Grimes doesn't play defense like that. Dante does. And I think if the Knicks are really striving to be a first quarter team that like wants to win the first quarter, because you hear the record, they're like the Knicks are 8-0 when they win the first quarter, whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
if they want to be a first quarter team, they need to be able to generate offense, specifically on defense, and they need more than Mitch to do that. So like Dante for Grimes actually does make sense, just given the current thing in time, and also take some pressure off Grimes. Let him come off the bench. Let him play with Quickly. Let him play with RJ.
yeah,
Let him play with like Hart and just be like, look, you could take all the open threes you want. Like it's okay. Like I think it just makes sense to do it. Like I would just do it right now. I think it's just a better move right now, just given the state of the team and the state of probably how Grimes is playing and how DiVincenzo's playing.
yeah. Like moving Grimes to the bench, like in theory, I'm with you. Like it should be great for him. Like it should give him a little more leeway on offense. It should like playing with quickly will always open things up. Like just out of curiosity, I ran like the PvP like quickly Grimes combination just to see
Mhm.
like if they'd even play together this season. You want to guess how many minutes they played together this season?
Probably like 5. They haven't played.
35 this
Okay.
whole season. So they're less than a full game. I even want to know what their net rating is in those 35 minutes.
Grimes probably tanked it, so it's probably like -12.
It's -30 actually,
Oh.
31. I mean, it's a 35-minute sample size, and like it's
Oof.
ridiculous. But I was just like, oh, let's just check and see what's there, and it gave me a giggle. So there you go. But I think in theory it would like actually work if you gave them extended minutes
I
together.
think so too.
It would be fine. Like it's just funny to look at now. So, but yeah, I'm totally all for Dante as a starter. Just like the concept. I don't know if it's 20 games or 30 games or I don't know how long it took him to do the camp thing. How many games was that? 25, 24?
Mhm. Oh,
But however long.
I like that we're gonna have a little cat head appear
Yeah,
in the YouTube, so that's gonna be fun.
make that the
Stacy
thumbnail.
Stacey Patton has instead of instead of golf trips or fishing trips, friends should be able to go on basketball trips where they book a cabin in the wilderness with a full court and just hoop all weekend.
This is why hotels have basketball courts. Some of like the really really nice ones, like they do have basketball courts, and that's enough. You know, that's okay. Like if we're going on a trip, we could get some shots up, play a couple games, pick up. But like I can't play basketball all day, man. It's fucking tiring. I'll play for 2 hours, hour and a half, and I'm winded for like the rest of the day. So I don't want to do like this whole basketball trip. That's a lot of hoops. Like maybe you start watching basketball for the rest of the trip, but like I can't
I feel
play
like
the whole
Stacy's
day.
missing the purpose of what like fishing and golf trips
Oh,
actually are, and
I'm
it's literally just drinking and smoking and relaxing.
not
Like
much of a golfer, but I've been on a handful of fishing trips like that, so I can
it's
confirm.
all drinking.
Yeah,
It's drinking, it's smoking cigars, it's smoking weed, it's maybe doing some other drugs at night when you're in the cabin. Like that's what those trips are.
definitely don't want to be working up a sweat though.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, would it be fun to try the basketball like microdosing on shrooms? Yes, I would love to try it. But that's not what I'm doing and like that's not where I'm going to the woods for. Like I could just take a trip to New York and be like, "Hey, we're going to go meet up at this park and we're going to play." Like we could just do that.
yeah, or we can do a trip at a nice place and just use the hotel
Or
court.
yeah, or the hotel court.
Yeah.
Basketball Robot has IQ not continuing his trend of wearing shorter and shorter shorts each year is holding him back this year. This is a good question. Has Emmanuel Quickly's shorts stayed the
Yes,
same?
I've been monitoring this for a while. I've kept my finger on the pulse of
Okay,
the
so he
shorts.
had. So are they longer or they stayed the same?
They are the same as last year.
Yeah. See, I Basketball Robot, excellent take. It's not hot, but it's an excellent take. If they are not shorter, then yes, there that could be a problem.
I think what he's doing to counteract this is the new hairstyle.
And the
Which has been great.
headband,
Yes, and a headband. So that's a
we'll
whole
see.
new look. It's great. He's been playing well with it. So we're probably seeing
Well,
it tonight.
we'll have to see. But yes, we have to keep monitoring the short situation because we need to get to a point back where the NBA shorts are like, 5-inch seams, then to like 3-inch seam. We need them back. We
Yeah,
need
like the
short
GRE West,
shorts.
Gail Goodrich shorts.
We
Yeah.
need the short shorts back. We need to see the leg meat. We need all of it. Like, we need it to happen. Spare One has the Knicks are one Julius Randle subtraction away from being a contender. This is a hot take.
It's hot. I don't know. Is he talking about like just the subtraction and then we're good? Like, is that
That's
it?
what. Okay, that's why I was going to say it's a hot take. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask, like, are we just losing Julius
Like,
Randle?
is this an
Then,
addition by subtraction thing? Like, is that what we're
like,
talking about?
sure, but like, I don't think like the Knicks don't have size. Like, right? Like,
Who's
RJ would be
rebounding?
the like, yeah, who's rebounding? Like,
Yeah.
you run into some issues now. If you're saying like, right, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, you're subtracting Randall and you're adding someone who can fill the void, yeah, I can see an argument for that. I think it's a very valid argument, and that makes the take a little less hot,
Yeah.
a little more grounded. Because I think that's where the Knicks that's where the Knicks is. So I mentioned this earlier, but we're going to keep the dramatic pause and switch over to the paid Patreon. Bye.